Welcome to the Collecting Keys Real Estate Investing Podcast with your host, Mike DeHaan and Dan Austin. From wins, losses, horror stories, and tactics for optimizing your business, Mike and Dan take a real, uncensored deep dive into the ins and outs of running a full-time real estate investment and wholesaling business.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to this week's episode of the Collecting Keys Mike and Dan Show, where I, Mike DeHaan, and my business partner, Dan Austin, didn't say Dan.
Got me right, dog. Thanks, man.
We talk about real estate, investing, business, and everything else in between. And man, this week, I'm super pumped with just how our instant investor stuff is going. And I promise this isn't a full plug show, but we have had so many people in our group coaching instant investor program that are just doing awesome stuff right now.
Yeah, it's super bubbly in the group right now. Like lots of stuff popping off.
Yeah, and then it's funny when you get into this business long enough. We have like a little wins channel where everyone posts their wins, and I realized this past week that we haven't posted any wins for a while. And it's not that we haven't had like successful deals and that sort of stuff. It's just that they're not wins anymore when you've run a business for long enough. It's expectations.
They're just business. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Either your business is failing or it's working. And so you don't think of it as a win. Right. But we have had other people in the group that have just started to take off. And I found that, I don't know about you, Dan, but I get more fired up about people within our sphere that are getting shit done versus us these days.
Yeah, it's so much more fun, and it's like not because like we taught them or anything, because honestly, some of the stuff they're doing is just so creative that I couldn't even thought about that, and that's what I like in this last group coaching call. I think it was like a Thursday night call. I think you were off that day. I can't remember what it was.
I was in Tahoe.
Anyways. Oh, that's right. You were in Tahoe. Anyhow, I just was like, every single person on this call that I'm looking at on the screen is doing something like that's like super cool that I'm excited about. And it's not even stuff that we've taught. Like, it's just like they're creating on top of creating, and it's super cool.
Yeah, and that's what's awesome, right? It's almost like, I don't know, having like a kid where you teach them like the basic ways to like stay alive, and then all of a sudden they start to have like complex thoughts, and then they start to like do things themselves. Yeah. And you know, we sort of help people give the foundation, but now we have people coming up with these like there's people that are doing novations that are structured in ways that we didn't even fucking figure out how to do that. We have one of the guys, he's like doing these crazy like $0 down deals up in like Flint, Michigan, where nobody's buying anything, but he's like printing money with these medical rentals. You know, and then we have people
just
that are
making things like creative, like work. That's not even his market where he lives. Like he's been and he's iterated though. He's like looked at other markets, done several things, and he just all of a sudden stumbled upon a niche that's going to work for him. And then he's coining what I'm calling the McKinney method, which is going to be a new Collecting Keys branded. We'll give McKinney, we'll give him some. That's his name. We'll give him some royalties on the McKinney method, but where he's using a website that he created for junk outs. Because he realized that he could, like, basically, you know, in theory, follow around junk out trucks and possibly get good leads for people that, because they're junking out their house, they're getting ready to sell it. And so he's got a website created. And then he went one layer deeper, and he's like, well, if people call me, I can at least, even if I don't buy their house, I can refer them to a junk out guy for some money, which is awesome because then it just pays for your marketing system.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's just genius, right? Because it is identifying a pattern that exists amongst motivated sellers, you know, or honestly flippers, right? So it's a great way to build a buyer's list too, is, you know, you have an SEO focused website that's for people that are trying to get rid of a bunch of trash in their house, and you don't actually own the business. You use it as lead gen for your real motive, which is finding off market sellers, right? But then you're still providing them the service that they're there for because you establish relationship with those companies so that you can say like, oh yeah, here's the company that's going to come into your junk out. So it's not like it's fraudulent or anything. You're still providing them the service. Yep. And it's just like a next level way of thinking. It's like all these people that are spending absolute fortunes trying to do, you know, SEO for like sell my house fast or all this other bullshit where there's so many different iterations of it. None of it works really unless you're paying insane amount of money for deals. Right. He's like, what if we just went to the advanced tier and we just said like what services do those people provide to try and hypothesize that they might have a motivation? What
are the underlying challenges and problems that would be lead indicators for somebody that needs to sell their home or is going to be looking to sell their home?
Exactly.
Junk out. I love it.
I mean, and that's huge, right? And there's like so many different iterations of that you could do if you think about it. I mean, like what if you had like a tenant, relief, like a landlord relief sort of website. It's targeted towards people that are needing help dealing with tenants that aren't paying in their properties. You could do that to lead to it, right? You just need to sort of establish what that actually looks like, whether it's a referral to a lawyer, whether it's a referral to, I don't know, a landlord's union. Is that a thing? Probably in red states.
I'm sure they have some landlord unions for sure.
Yeah. I mean, like, anything like that. Like there's any sort of reoccurring issue that occurs with motivated sellers, you could run lead gen for that issue and get off-market real estate opportunities.
Absolutely.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
I love it. So yeah,
makes me want to go down the thread. It makes me want to go down the thread of like what we were talking about on our team sales call today, which is based on an interview we just did with a guy named Eric Brewer, which I don't know when it's going to come out, but how you get creative in positioning the services you're providing to these people, because you're trying to find their like those underlying challenges, underlying problems that a seller lead might be dealing with, and you're trying to solve them. But the problem, and we've been guilty of this, the problem that most folks do is they try to sell them on the tactical ways that they're going to fix their problems instead of repositioning it into a simple way that's marketable, right? Something that you could actually market and put on a piece of paper, but also in a way that actually the seller can hear the solution. They don't care what a novation agreement is. They don't care what you're going to do with the eviction tenant rules and all that sort of stuff. They want to know how you're going to solve their problem.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's a huge point in any form of sales, right? I mean, whether it's buying off-market real estate, or it's like selling cars or selling widgets. I mean, if you look at any company that has a good sales team, a lot of their stuff is solution-based, right? And it tells you how they're going to give you the solution, for whatever you're inquiring about, like even like online stuff. You're going to look for a new CRM. If you went and inquired about a CRM and the sales rep followed up and they're going to tell you how the database works, you're not going to freaking buy that. Instead, they're going to show you how they can make your lead management be incredibly easy, right? And that's where the your interest comes from. Or like they're selling a car. Every car brand has a different sort of image, right? Or a different sort of problem they help solve. You go to like a used car lot, they're like, like one of those ones that has like the big like neon stickers on the windshield that are like
the guy that's got the
$6,000
floppy arms.
Yeah. Yeah, right. Like they're not going to have a huge upsell process. They're like, hey, you need to get from A to B. Here's the stuff that's been fixed on the car. Here's like kind of the general, I don't know, whatever, the reliability of it. That's what you're looking for. You go to a Ferrari dealership, they're going to say like, this is the boutique lifestyle that you're going to have with, buying this car. Like, this is how you're going to look. You go into those dealerships, they're sleek, they're very minimalist.
Tile floors, very nice.
Yeah, they just like sort of ooze money and luxury, right? And then when you start talking to them, they start talking about the performance and the high-end performance, because that is what you're looking at with that vehicle. And also I'm completely hypothesizing because I'm not a Ferrari guy. I've never went and inquired about
You are not
one.
a Ferrari guy.
But I can guess that that's probably what they do at those dealerships.
I've never been in a Ferrari dealership, actually, now that you say that.
Yeah.
Good point.
So I've been outside
Ferrari guys.
But yeah, but so here's also the how like Ferraris personified for the average person, because there's only so many people that can afford them. When I was in Miami last year for the Go Abundance event, me and our buddy Billy, whose wife's going to be on the show here shortly, Tara, Tara, fuck, I for 17, but her show's awesome. So watch what I think hers is coming out in 3 weeks.
She's
so
fire, yeah, she's awesome.
But we went, by this Ferrari dealership that was outside, and every single one, it's genius, because who likes Ferraris?
Old
people,
guys.
Yeah, like old people who are rich, who are car people, poor people who want to appear to be rich. Okay. And the largest demographic is the poor people who want to appear to be rich. So and down in Miami, like, I don't know what typical income looks like down there.
Right.
But you see a lot of these sports cars. I'm always like, damn, are there like that many rich people here? No, there are not. How the Ferrari dealership structures their sales is they'll have on the windshield of these Ferraris outside this dealership or in the window, and it'll say, you can own this car for $1,100 a month. And then next to it, it will say average rent in Miami is $1,800. So they are saying you can now afford this car for less than your rent. That is so genius because, again, who's the large demographic? Poor people who want to look rich, especially in Miami. You look sexy as hell with,
who are renting.
Yeah, they're not renting. Oh wait, who are renting a condo or whatever, right?
Yeah, but that's what you're saying when it's rent, right? $1,800 a rent.
Yeah, $1,800 a month. Yeah. Basically, you can rent this. You can own this car for less than your monthly rent in your condo. Okay. But then if you look at the fine print, it's like, oh, this is over a 160 month period.
Yeah, I was gonna say like $1,100 is not bad actually. A 12-year loan, nice.
On a car.
Yeah, heck yeah. But from an influencer status, it's a must-have. You got to have that. You can't have the super hatchback, Mike.
Yeah,
but very cool.
But the point is, going back to the sales tactic, right? Mm-hmm. They know the outcome the person wants. They know the pain point that exists. Right. They're not going to tell you, all the details of the financing because you don't care about that. All you know is that you're going to be behind the wheel of that red Ferrari for $1,100 a month.
Do you think they upsell you at Ferrari dealerships for the the extended warranty package for like? I don't know.
It might not be a bad idea how ridiculous the maintenance is on those sort of cars, man.
Right.
I remember there was one of them I saw a while back. I don't remember which car it was. I'm not a car guy. I should get off this topic right away.
Yeah, neither of us are car guys. Honestly.
I know. But there was this one car I saw. It was like a YouTube video for it. And it was like to change the oil, which you have to do, a couple times a year, cost $30,000, and you had to like send it to this specialty, the dealership where they have to
Ferrari?
No. It was something completely different that I never heard before. But they had to like take apart the entire car to get to where they like change the oil and then like put the whole thing back together. It cost $30,000.
Man, that's wild. I did learn from Thatch Nguyen, who's a real estate mogul out of Seattle. Awesome guy. He is a car guy, and he cares about cars and fancy things. That Rolls Royces, I think it's Rolls Royces, they basically have like tens of thousands of color schemes that you can paint your car. But you have to, the reason why is because you can get your own unique paint scheme at the factory. And then if anybody else wants that color, they have to call you and they have to get your approval to have that paint color. So a lot of people get their own unique. I mean, think about it. Like you always see like rappers like in these music videos. I don't even know if they have music videos anymore, but with like this unique bright pink Rolls Royce or something like that pink specific paint color. You would have to ask. I don't know who's Aaron Beal, our good buddy. What's his favorite rapper? Is it Lizzo? Is that her name? Was that?
Just put Aaron on blast. I love that because he will listen to this episode too.
Yeah, he will. I'm pretty sure that was who he said his favorite. When we were down in Florida and he was talking about his favorite rap artists. I don't know who Lizzo is.
Yeah, you do. You were the only one. I was the only one who didn't know.
No, I didn't know who she was on that one.
Get out of here. You were talking such trash. Mr. Social Media. Why don't you go hang out with Liver King or whoever the fuck you
God, right man. He's blowing up, man. He's big time now that he's honest with everybody.
Oh, he's getting sued by all of his a bunch of people for false advertisement on his supplements now. And it's just because as soon as people come out with like BS, it's like, oh yeah, no joke, this guy was on steroids. His supplements still probably work like every other supplement. I mean, they don't fucking work at all. So don't worry about it.
Everybody is on steroids some sort. Yeah. Who isn't? That's looking fit. Come on, man.
Yeah. Anyways.
Yeah. Sorry, audience.
But anyway, back to the sales process though. Like, as we've been having a lot of these interviews. So yeah, the Novation guy that we're having on here is gonna be in about 6 weeks, and that episode comes out, Eric Brewer, about how you phrase a lot of these different opportunities, right? They're like in a way that, as he put it, so the seller doesn't feel dumb. And the entire way that you are, every conversation you have, and this is the great thing with like the junk removal stuff that McKinney's doing as well, is you're, leading into the conversation in a way that is, solving their problem, right? And it is like, providing them value up front, and it is making them, not have to think too hard about what you are offering them.
Absolutely.
So, and I think that that's a very, very important thing. And with real estate investors, a lot of us, we tend to get really into the different sort of methodologies. We start to geek out about seller financing and the numbers. And especially those of us that are very analytical, we lose the human element, and we don't realize that the seller does not care about any of those things at all.
You might have
we do. Don't. I mean, a landlord is telling you on seller finance, they might care about their ROI and stuff a little bit more. But even then, most of them, they're like, I don't give a shit. Like, I'm selling you my property. I'm going to be making, X amount of money out of it, or I have a headache. Pay me a fair interest rate or whatever. I don't need to go over your like amortization table to have it make sense for me. So stop trying to pitch that to me. you know, and a lot of that can be structured internally in your conversations of like, so like, I guess how we normally approach that with seller finance, for example, is we'll say like, you know, if you go and say to somebody, you want to do seller financing, they'll always say, no, I don't want to do that. Because like, I don't know you, I don't trust you, I don't know anything like that. So instead we would say, hey, we could get you a little bit more for your property. If you're willing to basically be the bank for us, and we can buy it from you over the next like 5 years, would you be interested in that? And then they're like, okay, well, that makes a little bit more sense than like seller financing. I don't really know what that means. And then how we usually lead into the terms for it when those sort of deals is we'll say, you know, especially if it's a rental, we'll say, how much do you net per month right now on the property? Like, I net $1,000. Okay, perfect. So if I was able to get you $1,100, so you're gonna make $100 a month more per month, would that be interesting to you? And they say, yeah, of course. Then I'm going to keep getting my monthly income and be able to get higher money at the end. That makes sense. We'll say, awesome. So here's what you're going to do. We're going to pay you $1,100 a month, principal only, over the next 7 years. And then at that point, we'll have a balloon and we'll pay you off. And, you know, then at that point, you'll get your money.
And and all doing that. And you have to kind of judge them too, because if they're like, come at you about taxes, then kind of put a little tax spin on the back end of that. We're like, hey, we're going to be reducing your tax liability for the first 7 years of this. Right.
Yep, exactly. And also too, if you guys didn't catch what I said there, I said principal only, and we do this all the time. And now it's a 0% interest loan on this deal. And so every single monthly payment is going towards the principal of the property. And what's crazy is more often than not, people are okay with that. Even when they realize there's no interest, they're like, oh, as long as I'm getting my monthly payment, I'm getting more money at the end, I really don't care.
Absolutely. And the great thing about that is that when you're underwriting those deals, like, don't overlook that if you get it principal only. Like, if you're going to break even or like after set asides or have like a couple $100 in cash flow, and you're like, well, it's not that great of a deal. Yes, but you're getting $1,100 principal only back in your pocket, which normally would probably end up being on a new loan would normally be like $800 or $900 in interest that you would never see. That's lost.
Exactly. Yeah. So your ROI increases majorly,
fastly.
And I think with a lot of this stuff, what happens is they get in the conversation with the seller and they're like, well, what kind of interest rate would you want? What kind of amortization? What kind of other stuff? Let them ask for those things.
Right. Yeah. And structure it simply. Like, what do you want per month? If they're like, well, I want 5% interest and I want $1,100 per month, perfect. Like, I could absolutely do that, because you on the back end are going to adjust the amortization. You don't need to go through the math on that with the seller. Like, just do it. They want $1,100 a month and 5% interest. Make it so that it works.
Yeah. And I think just to emphasize on what you said there, where you say messing with the amortizations, this another thing is a lot of people, especially when they're new to seller financing, they will go into like, okay, what interest rate do you want? And then they'll look at things with like a 30-year amortization, because that's what they're used to in the United States.
Right.
You can amortize a loan over as long of a period as you want or a shorter period as you want. You could do an amortization over 10 years if you wanted. So like, if you need to be at that $1,100 a month, like we talked about, and you know, they want 5% interest, so you can't do principal only now, you can go and just like look at an amortization table. You can just go and look up like a loan payment calculator online and mess with the numbers. But we literally did this where these numbers were very similar. We did an $1,100 a month payment. They wanted 5% interest. So we're like, cool. So for the purchase price that we are at, we need to do a 48-year amortization. And they were like, it checks my box of $1,100 a month. It gives me a 5% interest. I don't even care about the amortization. Right. Perfect.
And they're still getting paid off at the same time. You can still do a 5-year balloon payment. So the amortization is actually like the least important tool, or like the least important number to the seller, but it's the most important tool for you to adjust when you're having to negotiate on interest rate. If you are having to negotiate on interest rate and price, amortization can really quickly help you out.
It's awesome. So anyways, but yeah, so all about just, you know, trying to figure out how to pitch things in a way that people can understand, because most sellers, if they're not career investors, they don't care about whatever you have going on in your head. They just want what's going to help them. So it's a big takeaway we've taken over the last, you know, several interviews that we've been recording, and then also we're starting to see it with the group as well. So tons of good stuff.
And that's just like next skill level stuff of how you escalate beyond just like being a person that gets a couple deals a month or a deal a month to being able to get way more deals, because it's repositioning. It's truly learning the sales craft and how to build marketing around your sales craft, right? Like when I say marketing, I mean like, how are you verbally marketing your skills and your services to the seller once you're on the phone or once you're in person with them? it's so, you can go so deep on that. And it's really cool getting to see the people that we have been interviewing and bringing into the Instant Investor program to talk to our groups, like why they're so successful is because they have those pieces dialed in. Mm-hmm. It's actually not the mail piece. It's actually not the data piece. Like, that's given, right? You need to know how to do that. You need to know how to have leads into your funnel, and you can get super creative with that. But it's like, once you have them in your funnel, the real value starts coming in when you're talking about that craft, the sales craft.
Exactly. Yeah, it's major. And I think that's where a lot of people get stuck as well. Is, I mean, even people that have been around for a while, they fixate so much on the lead gen. I think that's going to solve their problems. But I mean, the people that we've been talking with over the last little bit, and I'm super excited for this round of interviews that we have coming out over the next couple of months. We've had so many people that we've interviewed over the last couple of weeks that have been in this business for like pre-2008, you know, like 10, 15, 20 years. And so many of them, the acquisition side, or like the lead gen side, they don't even care. Like, it doesn't matter. They like know that if they get phone calls that they will have opportunities, but it all comes down to deal structure, learning the sales process, and learning how to bring value to the sellers, right? And if they're wholesaling, how to also bring value to the buyers, right? And
yes.
The same conversation also goes on the buyer side. If you are trying to wholesale a deal to an average investor, right? Not somebody that's a career flipper, but they're like a once or twice a year, maybe once or twice in a lifetime flipper. If you find yourself having to heavily explain the value of the deal that you are bringing to them, it's not a good deal, first off,
right?
And second off, you need to figure out how to frame it to them equally as simple,
goals, right?
And their goals.
Yeah,
exactly.
Like, well, I want, like, I guess an example of that is like, well, I would like to, this is my first flip. I got on your wholesale list and I want to buy this deal from you. And my goal will be, I want to learn how to flip houses so I can do this as a full-time job. Okay, perfect. And they're kind of grilling you and beating you up over the price. Like, oh, I don't know if this one will be for me. It's like, okay, well, what is your goal actually here? Like, you said you want to learn to flip and become a flipper. Well, to learn to flip, when you learned how to do your job and you went to college, did you earn money while you were in college? No, you paid money, right? So this is a way to earn money while you're getting your education in flipping. It might not be $100,000 deal, but very few of them are that way. So start putting in the framework of how you can help them envision their goals and how to get there and how you should be getting there will help so much on the sales side of things. Because otherwise it's so easy. I deal with people on the dispo side all the time. They're like, oh yeah, I don't think that those numbers work for me. And it's like, in my back of my head, I'm like, yeah, they probably don't, honestly, for you, because you don't have numbers.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, yeah.
Or your numbers aren't actual.
Yeah. And I mean, I think that's especially important right now where disposition is kind of tricky on wholesale deals. So, I mean, one of the things that we've started doing is almost like going backwards. I mean, we've always kind of done this a little bit where you get people's buy boxes, before you start looking at opportunities. And then when you find an opportunity that fits a buyer's buy box, and you go to them directly, and you can say like, hey, this is what you asked for, so here's your opportunity. And then if they don't want it, then you just take them off your list, right? They're no longer a legitimate buyer.
Right, they're not legitimate, absolutely. And it's funny because like the legitimate buyers will still be buying right now, and deals that you're sending out somehow work for them. And it's because they're actual buyers and they know what they're doing. And that's another key is, like, if you're a new person, I would say, just not to go deep down this bunny rabbit hole, but is like, go find those people. Because if you bring them a deal, they will buy it. Who are the big buyers in your market right now? Because the little guys, the onesies, twosies aren't the ones buying your deals right now.
No, they're not. Yeah. So, but yeah. Anyway, so yeah, we got all that going, and then we have had some huge wins in the Instant Investor group too, which I'm super pumped about. One of our guys, I'm not gonna like put his name out there on this because I don't know if he wants us to be like publicly shared. But we had somebody just close $125,000 deal.
Yeah,
which like
huge,
so it was
huge.
And it was a wholesale deal on what was the price of the house? Like 150.
Yes,
and he wholesaled it for $275,000. And yes, this is one of our instant investor partners that we've been working with, and
who did no wholesaling before this.
Yeah,
right before he met us, and he signed up to be partners with us in his home market where he's the boots on the ground. So he did not have a buyer's list beforehand. He did not know anything about direct mail, off market, cold calling, texting, nothing.
Yeah.
He didn't have any systems is what I'm saying. He probably knew what it was, but.
Yeah. And he's starting his 2023 with a win that is larger than most people's salary, $125,000. So it's only, it's all just gravy from here, man. Even if he makes no money for the rest of the year,
he definitely, it's all gravy because he's, I think, got like $250,000 in assignment fees booked for the year right now. If everything closes as planned, I think it's right around $250,000, including that 125. And that one was that's just an amazing deal from the follow up and how that one was positioned on the sales side, because that guy actually signed with another investor beforehand, and we followed up with him the day before closing or the day of closing and of his original deal, and that actually fell through. He was about to get foreclosed on, so we were able to work with him to not get foreclosed on and then get him under contract at a price and then find a buyer at the new price of $275. And then throughout the process, we were able to help the client because he wanted the wholesale, and I said, you don't know this buyer because he actually met this buyer through another person. I said, just to be safe, let's double close on this deal, because what that means is now your fee, which would typically be on the buyer's side of the settlement statement, and they'll see your fee. So if you think you can get sneaky and like not have your fee out there, people are going to see your fee regardless, or they can just go to the county record and do the math as well of what it recorded for versus what they paid you for it. So the buyer's always going to find out somehow. And not that he was doing anything unethical. The price is the price, and it worked for the buyer. But sometimes when you don't have that relationship with a buyer, they can get kind of scared and say, oh my God, I'm having to pay. They just get upset maybe. I'm having to pay this guy that much money, even though before they knew that deal worked for them. So we set up a double closing where essentially 1 day's worth of funding paid the seller got paid off. I think it was $150,000, and then the next day it closed with the new buyer at $275, and then that spread was given to our client of $125,000.
Yeah, and yeah, we lent him the money to do that, to get that done. That's just part of the perks of working with us if we're able to help you out to do that.
Right.
Which is great.
Makes it seamless, because also it just like reduces the amount of like back and forth between you and the client and everybody else, because transactions are also already complicated. But that right there alone, that double close and doing that, I think is just, there's several reasons why you would want to structure a deal that way. And that is one of them. Is like, if you don't really know your buyer very well and you're in a state where there's not a transfer tax, even if there was a transfer tax where this client is at, it still would have been a fat deal. And you and I would have done it this way, no matter what, even if it was a 2% transfer tax on both transactions, just because there's so much meat on the bone. But also it just really just kind of protects your interest in the property or in your fee, and not having to scare somebody away.
Yeah, sometimes with larger fees like that, you will do it, especially if it's related to the relevant value of the property or the transaction in general. But also too, you might find as you go through, you'll have a more sophisticated seller. It's an investor been around a while. They're like, oh, I want you to take this assignment clause outside of the contract. Fine. You're going to assign it anyway. You just have to make sure you do a double close on it when you assign it. Because then it'll still meet the requirements of them, you closing on the property as they wanted, and then you can just resell it. You hold on to it for a day or two. One of the first deals we did was actually like that. Our fourth or fifth deal years and years ago. We didn't even know what a double close was. I remember we were trying to figure it out, and we actually borrowed money from one of our main buyers. Well, I guess our main buyer, our only buyer at that point.
We did, didn't we?
Yeah. And he was like, yeah, but he's like, I'll do it for a point over the weekend. And we're like, perfect. That sounds great. So it cost us, it's like $1,800, but we made $24,000. Easy.
It's the cost of doing business, right?
So, but yeah, lots of good stuff going on though, man. I've been super, super pumped. And then also too, I feel like we've had really good energy on it. We had a call this week with Chris Prefontaine, who pitched his stuff a little bit more than I was expecting him to. But he still provided a lot of great knowledge, and we had great participation on it. And that's something that we're really going to be working towards this year, is bringing on more group speakers and that sort of stuff. And I think that one of the things that I think a lot of the, coaches or programs or things like that out there is they kind of set themselves up where they're the people, the people who run it are like the guys that kind of know everything. And we don't know everything, man. There's people out there that are way better than us at everything, right? And we know how to establish a base. We've done that successfully. We can help people establish that. But ultimately, you need a specialty on novations. Like I'm going to reach out to Eric here and see if he'll come and do a talk for our group as well.
That's gonna be awesome. I'm sorry, I'm laughing because I'm thinking of the video one of our friends sent us of Jamil Dimanji saying he is the best wholesaler ever, and everybody that goes against him admits that he's the best wholesaler. I'm like, no, you're not. To your point, Mike, we are not the experts. You know, the course, the program that the group we're curating it, and we're using and leveraging contacts that we have to bring in the experts, people that we want to be around too. That's why we're bringing them, so it helps us build our business better.
Bro, maybe we should bring in Jamil to teach everyone how to wholesale. He's the best.
Because he
says
he is the most ethical. Everybody else is unethical.
the most ethical. Fuck, I hate that dude, man. Like, actually, I don't know him personally, but if I went off of how he portrays himself, I would not like him.
Yeah, again, I don't know him personally. His online persona though, which is it's a sales craft in itself as your online persona, but his is a little bit more verbose than I would like to see when he calls out everybody as unethical and that he is the best. And I'm like, I know some people that have done a lot more.
And also he says he's the best, but then he also says he doesn't do any wholesaling tactics. He just daisy chains everybody's deals with his Keegley brand. So that means you're not a deal finder, dude. You're a networker, and you've built a brand with a heavy social media presence. So people bring you deals that you tack on $3,000 to and you sell. But when was the last time, like that he went and he's getting in touch with a seller, following up with them the day before they were going into foreclosure, bails them out of foreclosure, right? Gets them $150,000 instead of nothing, and then finds a buyer that's willing to pay $125,000 more for that property and makes a spread. Like that level of hustle, him and his team have not had for 10 years, at least. Yeah.
He maybe did early on, but he definitely does not have that now. And even from a quantity standpoint, I know people out there that do more than him quantity-wise too. So,
yeah. So whatever. Anyways, but yeah, so lots of good people come in. I'm excited about it. And we got like a sales trainer that we're gonna have coming in here too. So around the next couple of months, just talk sales with the group. We're trying to make it so that it is I want the Collecting Keys Instant Investor brand to be like one of the dominant wholesaling brands, like communities in the country. Like we have people in there that are just crushing it in every sort of market and are doing big things, and they can say like, oh yeah, this is kind of like where I came from. This is my group. These are what all these guys are doing that I'm networking with, and it becomes almost like a status symbol. Right.
Yeah, and I think like for any listeners out there that you think you have, or you have like some skill, whatever it is you'd want to speak to the group about, I'd love to hear it. I don't care if it's like I run a title company, I'm an expert at title. Like, sweet, we'll have you on. Like those are like things that are part of the process. We'd love to have you on. And likewise, if you want to be part of a discussion like that or listen to somebody speaking that's an expert on something, let us know. Hit us up.
Exactly. Yeah, you go to collectingkeyspodcast.com/store has kind of our outlines, but because I want to be exclusive, I decided at this exact moment that you can no longer just sign up for it. We have tryouts once every Sunday, and everybody has to come on, and we're going to do hour-long closing sessions where we have 10 people on a Zoom, all of you on dialers, and whoever closes the most deals gets accepted.
Oh my God.
No, I'm kidding. I would never do that.
No.
That would be hardcore, though.
That would be hardcore. We're going to have tryouts, and also you have to do a hero WOD in Mike's garage, in his garage gym, and then whoever wins that after they fight on a pugil stand with the little foam bats, then you can maybe apply to join.
Yeah, right. Maybe. I was going to say you just have to be on a dialer the whole time while you're doing burpees.
There you go. That's closing deals.
Yeah.
That's like Ricardo was, dude. He'd be like drunk honestly in the gym closing deals.
Doing curls.
Sorry.
Ricardo, man. But it's funny. I bet there are people that have tried like tryouts like that where they have a bunch of people like on a dialer. But anybody who's ever cold called before has had this experience where you just sit there for an hour and no one ansers. So like if you were in that, are you just screwed? Like, is that like if you're in a fishing competition, like, well, I guess there's no fish today, I lose.
No That's how it works, man. Luck of the draw, dude.
Yeah. So
sorry.
Anyways, yeah, tons of good stuff happening. I'm super excited. So if you have interest in hearing from us and like stuff that we're doing, or any sort of like bigger name people, we have what's like subject matter experts on every form of real estate that you can possibly imagine coming up over the next 6 months. So if you are interested in those, you should make sure you go and subscribe to this. You should leave us a 5-star review, and you should go and share this with all of your friends, because they're probably also interested in real estate in some form if they're friends with you. That's what I would assume. I know for me, people that I am friends with, they kind of become a little bit more interested in real estate just because I'm obnoxious and I talk about it a lot, and they sort of like see me traveling and doing other shit, which gets people interested. So you should share it though, because we have tons of great content coming up over the next 6 months. And then aside from that, guys, if you want to start collecting off-market leads yourself and learn the basic process about how to have these opportunities where you can make $125,000 in 3 weeks, just like our partner did, you can go to collectingkeyspodcast.com/free, and you can get our free 5-step guide to start generating off-market leads. Aside from that, you should hit us up on Instagram. I'm at Mike_invest. Dan is at InvestorManDan. I have been doing a lot of Instagram content recently, and I've had a ton of outreach actually, which has been super fun. So I love to connect with people, so go ahead and shoot me a DM, and I'm happy to talk to you about what we're doing and maybe how we can help you out with finding some deals for yourself. So besides that, Dan, anything else to finish off?
No, I'm just looking for that BDE t-shirt and my my Wholesaler Ghostbuster t-shirt. One of those getting made.
Yeah, so that's
we need a McKinney method, maybe a sticker or something.
Ooh, I want him to get a deal from it first before we start plugging
that.
As soon as he gets a deal from it, I will make a McKinney method shirt. That would be sick. Yeah, so on that last tangent, I already did my little sign off, but our developer is putting together basically a little print on demand store for Collecting Keys merch. So you will be able to go and buy it. A couple people that went and signed up for a BDE shirt, a Big Dan Energy shirt.
Yes.
You'll be getting those for free as the designs come together.
Throw that disclaimer out there. I forgot that most people don't think BDE means Big Dan Energy.
They'll figure it out.
And just like as an FYI, like we're not making money on merch. We're just dorks.
Yeah, we're just dorks. And so yeah, for the print on demand stuff, what's gonna look like is, we're not gonna like upsell shirts for like $40 or whatever. Be free shipping, whatever the base price is for the shirt on the print on demand company, whatever it costs for us to get the shirt, that's what it'll be. We just want you to have swag if you want it. But he's working that out because like also too, I don't want to spend $1,000 on freaking shirts that just like sit in my drawer. Right. And then I have to like send one to people that, cost me $19 to frickin' send via the post office.
Right.
So either way, we're getting that set up. So if you want some merch, I will keep you updated on those.
If you have any requests to like design requests, let us know. Cause like I know Aaron is going to ask us for a Lizzo shirt. And so
he's not getting a Lizzo shirt. He can go make that for his company.
Sorry. I like to write checks my ass can't cash. I just throw things out there on the podcast.
Yeah. But so I'll keep you updated on that. But besides that, guys, seriously, hit us up on Instagram and share this with all your friends. And besides that, guys, appreciate you all. We'll talk to you next week.
See ya.
Thanks for listening. Please leave us a review on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts. And check us out at collectingkeyspodcast.com for tips and guides on starting your own real estate investment and wholesaling business.